the Acoria Racing League F1 2021 League. We are running a little late, unfortunately, but we are getting started at the moment. Thank you so much for joining us, and let's get right to it. We are running the Bahrain International Circuit. Let me just get that that track intro up and running for you. Alrighty, so the Bahraini International Circuit has been on the calendar since 2004. It has been off the calendar once in 2011 when there was civil unrest in the country and there were concerns by the teams. So in 2011 it did not take place. In 2010 they ran a different configuration. Obviously the current one is 15 turns, 5.412 Ks and 3 DRS zones. It has a little bit of elevation, about 26 meters if I remember correctly, and it is quite an interesting track, quite a fast track. The corners can be quite technical, and you have some very difficult corners where the trail braking is very important, and if you can't trail brake, you do find that corner incredibly difficult, and as it's just before one of the DRS zones, it makes it even harder. So let's get to it. We're waiting for the guys to ready up so that we can head into the race. Just double checking what's going on. Okay, so we've had a little bit of a change. We were going to run a short quali as we had under 15 drivers, but we now have 15 drivers, and so we're going to go to full quali, and the guys are going to head out shortly. They are once again starting to ready up. Let's just make sure that everyone is in the right places. It does look like they are. So everyone's going to start readying up, and we should be underway very shortly. So at the end of the last race, we had only 5 finishers out of our mini starters. So let's have a look and see how each of the teams fared. We will start with the Williams team. They did particularly well at the end of the last race, and as you can see, G-Funk starting in 9th place, finished up in 4th place, getting 12 points for the team. INTJ performing admirably, getting a 2nd place finish, 18 points for the team, and that put Williams up into 1st place with 30 points. So Williams currently leading the championship, and that is how they did it. Moving on, we'll head across to Mercedes. Mercedes finished in 2nd place at the end of the race, with Jarvis carrying the team, getting a 1st place finish, 25 points for the team. Venom unfortunately started very far back, didn't finish the race, and didn't bring in points, so Jarvis very much carrying that team. But let's see if they can do better this round. Next up was the Aston Martins of Humid and Moz. Moz unfortunately started in 4th place, did not finish as well. Humid ended up in 3rd place with 15 points, and that gives the Aston Martin team 3rd place with 15 points. Next up is the Alfa Romeo team. Alfa Romeo finishing in 4th place overall, 11 points for Aphrodite, 10 points for his position, and then 1 for the fastest lap. So well done to Aphrodite for that strategy call at the end of the race, getting that fastest lap and that 1 extra point, which puts them into 4th position. We then have the Red Bull team. The Red Bull team has actually changed quite a lot, unfortunately, with the lag issues that we were having at the end of the last race. Quinton Berry has decided not to join us again. Both Boost and Booster did not join us for the first race of the season, so the Red Bulls will be filled by Afriki Pokpok and Zeal for this race. And we'll see how they do going forward. With the main drivers, Quinton has had to pull out due to his lag issues, and Boosted did not, as I said, did not join us. Next up, we have the McLaren team. McLaren, Deadpool and Potty not doing too great during qualifying and not finishing the race to get any points. Alpine, Ferrari, AlphaTauri and Haas, all the same general idea. We had a pretty difficult set of races. The only notable incident was KQ Microstatic in that AlphaTauri getting all the way to the final corner and spinning out there due to the damage he had sustained earlier on. So we're going to head across to the guys and see what they're doing, heading out onto the track, and we will be with them shortly. I just want to double check that everything is tagged correctly and described correctly and all the rest of it on the various streaming platforms, and then we will head across to the qualifying session. Everyone is currently on an out lap. Looks like a couple of people are just now starting their laps, so we will get to them very, very shortly. Alrighty, and there we go. So we're following D2A1 around at the moment in the Ferrari. Currently just on his outlap, so he's about to start his lap. Sector 1 is a yellow. Let's get the map up so we know what's going on. Doesn't look like anyone is too badly going slowly. Looks like someone's just getting out of the way. So D2A1, our first lap of the broadcast. Let's follow him around as he goes down towards corner 4. Corner 4 is an interesting corner. It does tighten a little bit. That little bit on the left hand side actually goes onto the outer loop, which F1 ran a couple of years ago, or yeah, a couple of years ago now in 2020 for the Sakira Grand Prix. This corner, this little hairpin going downhill a little bit or on camber, so it helps getting through it, but there is a dip in the middle of the corner which can affect your traction quite a lot. This is that trail braking corner. As you can see, it's a very awkward corner to get through. It's so easy to go wide there. If you brake a little bit too hard, you do end up just going straight, no traction on the front tires, and you end up just going and going and going. This little pair of long radius corners is very nice to drive. It's very fast speed, but if you touch that curb on the right that D2 just touched, if you get a little bit too far on it, it will spit you out, and it's very easy to spin there. As the corner is so high speed, it's very easy for people to hit into you there as well, so always a difficult corner. This next corner will live on in Alex Albon's nightmares. In the Red Bull, came around this corner, hit that curb, spun into that wall over there, and that was the end of whatever event that was. I think it may have been a practice session or a quali session, so not too bad for the race, but definitely something to keep in mind. G-Funk retiring. So retiring coming out of corner number 3, which is this one over here. So G-Funk should be right in front of us on the left hand side. Looks like he pulled a Mazepin, who went out there in his first ever F1 race. On the first ever lap he raced, so that is unfortunate for G-Funk to join Mazepin in that little Hall of Fame, little personalized Hall of Fame for them. So the guys are out. There's a couple of people getting out of the way. Obviously with the long straights it's quite easy to stay out of the way on this track, so you see the guys getting off the racing line, letting those on a lap just get on with it. KQ Microstatic is currently top of the timing tables with a 1:27.080. So we have the two AlphaTauris at first and second, KQ Marcus Static and Marcus Jarvis in the Mercedes in third, IMTJ in a Williams in fourth, currently looking like he's warming up his tires, possibly looking at another run. Zeal is filling in the Red Bull, coming into the pits at the moment in fifth place. Afriki Pokbok also in the Red Bull, filling in the other Red Bull seat. Looks like he might be coming in as well. There he is. Potty in the McLaren is sitting in 8th place, Sebi in 9th place, D2 in 10th, Deadpool currently sitting in the pit lane. He is having a couple of lag issues, so might be keeping an eye on his latency and that sort of thing. Looks like he might be going out now, so it looks like he is lagging a little bit, so he's going to have to keep an eye on that and possibly retire from the beginning of the race. But during quali, this should be, yeah, that's a lot of lag. So Deadpool might not be able to join us for the rest of the race. Moz is currently on an outlap, so let's follow him around and see how he does. Okay, across the start finish line and down towards corner one. Moz looks like he got a pretty good run out of that last corner. Gets down to the first turn, gets around there a little bit too deep into that first turn and compromises his entry into turn 2 and out of turn 3. Down through the first DRS zone, down towards turn 4. Gets around turn 4, not too much of an issue, does not use as much of the exit curbing as he can, uses a lot of the entry curbing into the next little S section and down towards the hairpin. Through the hairpin, hits the apex quite nicely, doesn't take as much of the outside curve as he possibly can, heading down towards this horrible trail braking corner where just before it is one of the DRS detection points. A lot of people try and overshoot that just to try and get that detection point and end up braking too late into the second DRS zone. Moz does look like he's doing all right in sector 2. We'll see sector 3 after these two, or in the middle of these two fast sweeping corners. Moz staying very far away from the inside curbing there onto the outside curbing, which is quite nice. The split not giving us a comparison. I think that's because he is currently on his first timed lap. Down towards the final corners, the 2 corners counted here, you can see the little kinks on the map itself. Looks like he got a decent exit out of there. DRS wide open down towards the start finish line, and only 9th place for Moz, so not as strong a lap as he could have managed, but definitely I reckon he's got some more in him. Humid currently out on, looks like a lap, gets his DRS wide open, stays to the right hand side of the track, which you can actually get a little bit more time by not immediately jinking across the right hand side, but slowly moving across the length of the straight. So losing up a little bit of time there, going through the fast sweeping corners, doesn't touch that inside curbing, takes a lot of the outside. That's a good line through there. Gets down towards the final corner on the final straight. DRS detection zone is that little white line over there at the 100 mark. Around the corner, good amount of entry or apex curb, not so much on the outside, just trying to keep his traction up, and goes into 5th position, so not as aggressive as he could have been, and it definitely shows in the fact that he's down in 5th place. Only 23 hundredths, no, 23 thousandths. I'll get it right eventually. 23 thousandths behind Marcus. So we have Venom up in first place, a recent jump up to first place in the Mercedes, a 126.975. KQ Marcus Static not far behind with a 127.080. Sebi 127.151. Sebi's connection looking a lot better today after his connection completely caused issues at the last race. He does seem to have been able to fix it, and it is good to have him with us again, as he is one of the faster drivers, and you can see him sitting there in 3rd place. Marcus keeping his keeping that time from before in 4th place. Humid in 5th, Jarvis in 6th, IMTJ in 7th, Zeal in 8th, Moss in 9th. Aphrodox only in 10th at the moment. Aphrodox might be able to get a little bit of a better lap, but he might only be looking at going into the next session. Obviously, this being a full quali session, the first session is just about getting into Q2. If you feel like you have a good enough time to get yourself into Q2, even with track evolution going on, you can retire in the pits and you can wait until later on. Looks like Humid is looking at going out again, is possibly actually on a lap. No, it doesn't look like he's on a lap at the moment. It looks like he is actually coming into the pits. That looked very quick, although that may have been a little bit of lag going on there, so not sure what's happening with that. But Humid coming into the pits now. Marcus on an outlap. Looks like that is a legitimate outlap. Zeal on an outlap. He is currently close to starting again. So let's follow Zeal around as he goes down the final straight. Okay, so Zeal goes into the first corner, the camera doing its very best to make sure that we can't see it, but looked like he took a lot of the apex through the second corner, which should set him up quite nicely for this DRS zone, down towards turn 4. Mercedes getting nicely out of the way there and allowing Zeal to take his preferred line through the section. It looks like he doesn't take as much curb as we have seen. Lots of curb on the inside, on the entrance to the hairpin, not so much on the exit. So taking it a little bit easy, trail braking all the way down to that corner. Looks like it's a very good exit out of there. Gets all the way to the right hand side once again, but pulls a little bit to the inside, looking at the entrance to the next corner. That was a good line there, or decent line there. Surround the sweeping left-hander and immediately into the sweeping right-hander. Doesn't look like he got too much onto the curbs there. Gets nicely onto the curb on the exit there. Sets himself up well to get onto this final straight. Down towards the last couple of corners. Full speed down here. Brakes at the 100 mark. It's pretty much at that DRS detection zone. A lot of people do use that, or some people do use that as their braking mark, and crosses the line up into 5th place. So a much better lap out of Zeal. So let's go down to Deadpool again. He is out on track, so we're going to have a look and see what his connection is doing now as he is on his outlap. We can have a good idea of how much lag he's actually experiencing. So going through the S section down towards the hairpin, doesn't look too bad at the moment. So it looks like his connection may have gotten a little bit better. So we'll see what Deadpool is able to do in the McLaren. Down through the trail braking corner. Not a great exit there. May have just had to open up to prevent any sort of snap of understeer or of oversteer. So around he goes into the sweeping left and right. Gets very wide there and misses the apex entirely of the sweeping right-hander. Sets himself up decently there. Gets a little bit wide. Has to turn quite late. So not a great lap so far. A little bit scruffy, but the important thing for Deadpool at the moment is just making sure that he's not experiencing any lag. And it looks like he's not experiencing as much lag as he was earlier. It doesn't look like he'll necessarily be a danger to anyone else on the track. Apparently that was an outlap, so not a bad lap then. Oh, and there's some of that aforementioned lag. Almost commentator's curse star. As he starts going fast, the lag picks him up again and starts throwing him around. So we'll keep an eye on him as he goes around on his actual hot lap down into turn 4. Not a bad line through there, but not using as much of the track as he possibly could have. Misses the apex on the right hand side there, has to avoid the apex on the left hand side, which is a slippery curb into the hairpin. quite slow through there, but definitely taking it easy, trying to get a lap time on the board rather than just throwing himself through there, spinning out and not getting a lap time at all. Gets onto this back into what is essentially the back straight of the three other straights that are not the pit straight. So down towards the sweeping left and right, we can see a Ferrari and a Red Bull quite close to each other ahead. It looks like D2A1 and Zeal fighting it out on track. Deadpool, I'm happy with that. There's not too much lag going on there, so let's go and have a look and see D2A1 showing as disconnected at the moment. So once again, lag being a little bit of a problem. Zeal going into the pit lane, possibly feeling like his lap was a little bit compromised by being in the dirty air. Deadpool is now crossing the line, goes 12th fastest with a 1:31.642, so a very conservative lap, but that's not unusual, especially when you're just trying to make sure that you get around the track. Zeal, D2A1 currently on track, heading down towards turn 4, and we'll follow him around for the rest of this lap. Goes quite nice, gets onto that little bit of curbing there, eats a lot of the curb on the left and then the right, avoids the curve on the left, down to out of that last little bit of an S-turn. Looks quite slow through there and looks like he may have backed out of his lap. That was very strange. That actually showed him with the pit limiter on, but he was out in the S's and heading down towards the hairpin. So not sure what's happening there. If that was maybe some sort of glitch, or maybe he'd lagged out and that was where he was on his side, but not necessarily on our hosted side. So Marcus possibly currently on the lap, going through the S's where D2A1 decided to pit. Going around the hairpin, gets quite an aggressive exit, going all the way down into second gear and pushing himself out as quickly as possible. Here's that trail braking moment. You can see how awkward it is the entire way the car is forcing the mass of the car onto those front tires, which gives them a little bit of extra bite, and that makes it easier to get through that corner. So you'll see most people will try that trail braking method where they brake hard to begin with, slow themselves down as much as possible, and then slowly lift off so that the car continuously leans forward and puts as much pressure on those front tires as possible, gives them as much traction as possible, and turns the car quicker as a result. Down into the final corners, looks like he's staying quite far right. This is likely to be going into the pits, and there it is. So not enough, sounds like not enough fuel for another lap, but also going into the pit lane as the as Aphrodite spins, coming out of corner 2. Yeah, it looks like he was coming out of corner 2. Aphrodite spinning there. That puts an end to any laps that he had in mind. Deadpool and Moz look like they are both on laps, so we'll follow Moz around. He definitely has more potential than 11th place, so let's see what he can do as he heads down the back straight. Gets all the way across, it straddles that curb, takes a lot of the curb on the left, both entrance and exit, stays clear of that curb on the right. You can see how far he is off that curb, especially considering how he's taking all the others. That is just a testament to how slippery that curb is and how quickly you can lose the car on it. Heading down towards this final corner, takes a little bit of the curb on the outside, a little bit on the inside as well. Down towards the start and finish straight. DRS will be open now and across the line. 10th place, so Moz not having a good session here in Sakir at the Bahrain International Circuit. So that should be almost the end of the session. Just Aphrodite left to come across the line or into the pits. And hopefully if he does come into the pits, he retires as soon as he crosses that pit line, just so that we don't have to watch him be wheeled back into the pits. No, he's going to go across the line, and that is even better. It'll put us into immediately into the load for the second session. So as we stand, we have Marcus returning to the top of the field. Marcus doing a great job of getting up there. Then Venom in second place, only 76 thousandths behind. KQ Microstatic 181 thousandths behind first place. Sebi, quarter of a second. Jarvis almost half a second. Zeal also almost half a second. Humid 6 tenths back. Aphrodox 6.9 tenths back. IMTJ 7 tenths. Mars 8 tenths. Potty 9 tenths. Deadpool 4.7 seconds. So obviously that was that conservative lap. D2A1 17.3 seconds, and then Afriki and G-Funk retiring, so they will not continue to the next session. So at the start of the next session, generally I'm not entirely sure how this works with a lower amount of players. I think the top 15 still go through, so we'll see together who actually goes through to this next round. It looks like it's dropped a couple off the bottom. That's fine. I think it may have been the DNFs. So we have D2A1, Zeal, Marcus, Sebi, Potty, Deadpool, Moz, IMTJ, KQ Microstatic, Venom, Aphrodox, Jarvis, and Humid have made it through to Q2. So let's see who is the first to get out there onto the track, ready to make their mark on Quali 2. Looks like D2A1 wanted to be the first out, but was sniped by Marcus. So let's watch them as they head out. Marcus and KQ Microstatic look like they're both trying to get out fairly quickly. There we go. TV camera is back. So we have Aphrodox out on the track as well. So Marcus, Aphrodox, D2A1 and KQ Microstatic are out on track. Looks like the others are coming to join them now. Let's see who that is. It's very difficult to see since they don't put it in order. I think it's IMTJ. Yes, indeed it is. There's that Sebi out on the track as well. There is a Mercedes behind him as well. That is Venom. Then we have one of the McLarens. That is Potty. Behind him will be Jarvis. Then it's one of the Aston Martins. That is Humid. Then Deadpool. And currently we have Moz and Zeal, I do believe, sitting in the pits. So something... Possibly they're not happy with the amount of traffic on track. They might be hoping to wait until a little bit later once the track is a little bit rubbered in. But we will see how they do once they get out there a little bit later. So Marcus warming up his tires, looking at qualifying on the medium tires, not a bad idea. The aggregate here is one of the more aggressive aggregates on the F1 calendar, and so it can weigh through your tires quite quickly, which makes the soft tires not necessarily a good long run tire. So Marcus heading on down towards the first corner, the first person to do so. Round the first corner, doesn't quite hit the apex there. Looks like he did get a little bit of an awkward run into the second corner, but looks like he's definitely got back on top of it, not taking too much of the outside of the track, but gets right across it when it comes to turn-in time. Not a bad line through there, doesn't take much of the exit curb, chews through a lot of the curb on the left there, stays away from the one on the right and the one on the left on the S's. Down towards the hairpin, lots of curb on the left-hand side of the hairpin on the entry, lots of curb on the left-hand side on the exit as well. So not scared to use those curbs, but choosing exactly where he's comfortable to use them. Hits the apex on the trail braking corner, down the back straight. DRS wide open, adding a little bit of distance to his path by sticking to the outside of the track there, rather than just cutting a straight path. Looks like we have Zeal spinning on track. That's unfortunate for him. Especially as he does look like he was trying to take advantage of the track rubbering up a little bit. And in the meantime, Marcus is onto the final straight, heading down towards the last couple of corners. Takes a lot of curbing on the outside of the entrance. Doesn't use actually uses quite a bit on the exit, and you can see Aphrodox doing the same behind. So Marcus obviously goes to the top of the timing table, so 128.193, Aphrodox at 128.328. So not bad, both of them hitting 128s, a 128.380 the next from KQ Microstatic. We have the Ferrari of D2A1 just starting a lap, it looks like, so we'll see how he does. We've got now INTJ and Venom crossing the line in that order and staying in that order. Sebi then next with a 129.138, so I'm not sure if Sebi's lap was possibly compromised, but not doing as well as we expect. D2A1 getting 144.088. I suspect that D2A1 is not 100% collected, as that came very long after his actual crossing of the line. Deadpool and Potty coming in 9th and 10th. Potty looks like he took a very conservative lap. Deadpool 3 seconds off the pace at the moment. So those two and the McLarens struggling to keep up with the rest of the field. So still to set laps, we have Zeal and Moz, who are at different points of their laps. Moz currently sitting, going onto the back straight, going through the trail braking corner, gets it nicely onto the apex there. Again, not taking the straight route down this back straight, but taking very aggressive lines through the corners, through the sweeping corners. Let's see what he can do. Comes around onto the final straight, heading down towards the final corners. Looks like he's feeling nice and confident. Sebi, as I suspected his previous lap, must have been compromised as he's gone to the top of the time with a 128.178. So a fast lap, not much ahead of Marcus, but enough. Moz now showing why waiting was possibly a good idea, going to the top of the times with a 127.891. So a good lap, a good gap to Sebi, who's just set his time as well. Zeal only going up into 6th place, so not taking advantage of the Rubberden track as much as Moz did. Let's see if we can see what tires everyone was on. So Sebi achieving that time on medium tires. Moz going to the top of the times with soft tires, so that is something to keep in mind. At the beginning of the race, those soft tires aren't going to last nearly as long, but it will put him onto a different pit strategy to humid, which is quite important for the Aston Martins to take advantage of any pace that they have. Moz obviously sitting in 1st, humid currently sitting in 8th, might not be happy with that being on those medium tires, so he might come out for another run, possibly try something different with fuel. Or maybe switch across to the soft tires and try to get to the top of the field rather than sitting down in 8th place with medium tires. So everything quietens down now as people wait for the track to rubber in a little bit further, and they wait for people to go around, get out of the way, and wait for some of the traffic to clear. We have Zeal now going to the top of the lap. So Zeal taking a lap to get up to speed, but definitely setting the lap time that he must have been looking at originally with a 127.872. So possibly the track rubbering in a little bit further from where he completed this lap before, or otherwise he has just gotten himself a little bit more comfortable with the track. Zeal going to the top of the time with a 127.672. Moz in 2nd with a 127.891. Sebi in 3rd, 128.178, but on the medium tires. Marcus on mediums as well with a 128.193 and Aphrodox at 128.328. Your top 5. KQ Microstatic, IMTJ, Humid, Venom, and Jarvis, top 10, and Potty, Deadpool, and D2A1, your top 13 at the moment. Okay, so IMTJ going round once again. Okay, makes it through the first couple of corners fine, heading down towards turn number 4. Doesn't take too much curve on the outside, not going to get as good a run through this corner as he possibly could have. Does take a decent amount on the exit though, so that might make a little bit up for it. 200ths up from his previous time. Currently on the mediums, so 200 ups on the mediums means he will qualify on the mediums if he keeps that pace up as he heads down into the back section, onto the back straight. Also, no, he is actually going a little bit straighter than some of the others have gone, so this is a slightly better line down towards, down along the back straight into these sweeping S's. Nicely across to the left, avoids the curve on the right, takes a lot of curve on the left, possibly unsettled his car a little bit. It didn't look as balanced as it may have. So possibly taking a little bit too much curve on the outside there as he heads down towards the final corner now. A little bit of lag there. I don't think that was on his end. As he comes across the line, he goes up into 5th place on those medium tires. 4.7 tenths up on his previous time. So obviously getting a banker on those soft tires and now doing his actual lap on these mediums. So IMTJ currently sitting in 5th place, pushing Afrodox down to 6th. Let's see who else is out. We have the Mercedes, both the Mercedes out on outlaps. Potty, Deadpool, all looking to improve on their times, currently in the bottom 5. So if the game does take the bottom 5 as the drop zone, then we will be seeing both of the Mercedes and both of the McLarens out, as well as the Ferrari. So Jarvis starts his lap down towards the first corner, misses the apex there, doesn't go too deep into that next corner, gets the curb on the left hand side of corner 2 quite nicely down towards corner 4, misses the apex once again. So not having as much traction as he would like, these medium tires not treating him well. Through the S's and down towards the hairpin, lots of yellow flags all over the place, but I think that might just be people going a little bit slowly. Hits the hairpin's apex quite nicely. Down towards the trail braking corner, brakes at the apex of the first part of the corner, gets around quite nicely, a little bit too nicely. I wonder if he braked a little bit too far there and ended up not carrying enough speed through there. Takes a lot of curve on the left going into the sweeping S's. Nice line through that right-hander, not getting as close to the curve as he possibly should have, but sets on up nicely for this back straight. Down towards the final corner we go. Hits the apex this time. Uses a little bit of the curb on the outside. That is a good line through there. Jarvis goes up to 6th position, so the track definitely rubbering in. We're seeing people doing much better times than they managed earlier. Potty, the latest one, going into the top 10, into 9th place with a 128.627. The track has definitely rubbed it in. People will want to get out there once again. Zeal proving that now out on the medium tires. His previous time of 127.672 on the soft tires. So let's see if Zeal can beat his best time of the session, which is the best time of the session on these medium tires. He's not going to do that with that little snap of understeer. Going down towards turn 4 looks a little unsteady going into turn 4. I wonder if he's struggling with tire warm-up or whether he maybe needs to go around another lap. 3/10 down on his previous time, so definitely this is not going to be a good lap by Zeal. He will have to just keep going, warm up his tires, reset and go again. Hopefully he has enough fuel to do that. It does look like he's still... Is he still burning ERS? Looks like he might still be... No, he's definitely backed out of the lap, gets out of the lap. So Zeal deciding he is going to warm up his tires a little bit more as someone else, that is Venom in the other Merc, goes up into third place. This track has rubbered in an incredible amount. The violent aggregate definitely doing its thing, grabbing as much rubber off the tires as possible and making a much better surface for the racers to race on. So we will follow Zeal around once again as he gears up for his next lap. Looks like a decent exit out of there. Goes a little bit further in than what some people do, gets back to the outside. Again, not quite so confident, going dead straight. IMTJ now retiring in pits, deciding that he is safe. Okay, Zeal going around corner 1, that was a much better run at corner 1. Corner 2 not so good, and off we go. That I'm surprised he didn't lose his front right tire there, but that is unfortunately one of the hazards of taking so much curb on the inside of turn number 2. So Zeal has now retired from the session, and that will be the end of his running. Humid is on an outlap, so let's follow him around. We'll follow him in the TV camera if it decides to follow him, through turns 2 and 3 onto the straight down towards turn 4. Touches the apex very nicely on the inside, chews up a lot of the exit curb or the exit line, doesn't touch the entrance of, or the curb on the entrance of the S's there, down towards the hairpin, hits the apex, it gets a little bit onto the curb there, doesn't get too much onto the exit curb. Humid down in 11th, so this lap actually means a lot. Doesn't hit the apex of the trail braking corner, is now behind the McLaren, so we'll be getting a little bit of slipstream from the McLaren, but we'll also be getting dirty air through the fastest corners of the track, which is not ideal. Gets nicely across the left, goes through the right-hander, takes a lot of curb on the right hand side, on the exit of the right-hander. The McLaren now getting out of the way. Humid deciding against going for the McLaren slipstream. It looks like the McLaren cuts back onto the racing line, goes over to the left hand side, so that would have given Humid dirty air once again. That was a little bit odd and maybe brought up later on. Humid only in 10th place with a 1:28.400, so that is not a great time by Humid. Once again, I don't know what's happening with Humid on this track. He did definitely look like he struggled with that lap. So only sitting in 10th place, not sure if he's going to get through to the next round, but we will see what the game decides to go and who it decides to take through. So as we end the session, we have Zeal up in first place with a 1:27.672, Moz in second, 1:27.891, Venom in third with a 1:28.166. Okay, so it looks like the game will drop Potty, Deadpool, and D2A1. So our top 10 are Zeal, Moz, Venom, Sebi, Marcus, IMTJ, Jarvis, Aphrodox, KQ Microstatic, and Humid. Only Zeal and Moz on the soft tires, everyone else on the mediums. So that will come into play when we get to the beginning of the race, and obviously the strategies that everyone goes to. Quite interesting. Venom on the mediums was about 0.5 slower than those running, or than the first place time. So 0.5 seems to be the difference between the softs and the medium tires. So into Q3 we go, and let's see what people can do. I know a couple of people do hold quite a lot back in Q2. They get just whatever time they need to get into the next session, and then they push as hard as they possibly can in this Q3 session. So don't rule out those that finished towards the back of the field. They are likely to be pushing even harder during this Q3 session. On that note, we will follow Humid around as he is second on the track. And obviously finished in that 10th position, so only just made it through to Q2 by the skin of his teeth. So we will follow Humid around on his fast lap when he gets around to it. So Humid taking a very aggressive line through there, not so much aggressive as far as taking the curbs and so on, but very aggressive as far as how much he's throwing the car around the various corners. Obviously trying to get some heat into those tires. Running behind the Williams that close is not going to be ideal. It will definitely cause issues. As far as his tire warm-up is concerned, it will overheat his tires a little bit, and Humid deciding that he does not want to stay behind that Williams any longer. And the Williams is fighting him, so we have a little bit of a race on our hands as the Williams cuts back, gets onto the final straight before Humid, and starts warming up his tires again. So Humid takes to the right hand side to get on with his lap as I'm TJ, I do believe that is in the Williams, decides to warm up his tires. We have Afrodox also not messing around with warming up the tires on the last little stretch of road and getting past the Williams as well. So Humid, the first on a lap, after passing the Williams of IMTJ, heads down towards turn 1, completely misses the apex. So this is not a good start to the lap. Takes a lot of the apex of turn 2, doesn't spin out as we saw happen in the previous session. Goes into turn 4, a little bit too much of the curb on the inside possibly there, but takes a lot of the curb on the outside, trying to get as straight a path through that corner as possible. Goes through the S's, has to lift a little bit in the left hand S down towards the hairpin. Doesn't get as far to the left hand side as usual, so Humid not carrying as much speed as he possibly could. Brakes quite late there, doesn't lock up too badly, and off he goes down the back straight. Humid taking a lot of the curb on the right hand side there, getting into the sweeping S's, staying clear of that right hand curb. So everyone tonight staying very clear of that right hand curb. I've seen a couple of people mount it but then get away from it as quickly as possible. Nice exit out of that last corner there, down towards the final corner of the track. Doesn't hit the apex again, so Humid not entirely comfortable on this set of tires. Heads across the start finish line, and Humid's first time will be a 1:27.387 as the benchmark. Afrodox 1:27.737, and IMTJ immediately goes to the top of the time, so that little tire warm up that he did obviously paying dividends now, a 1:26.931. Alrighty, so we have IMTJ out in first place with a 1:26.931, Marcus in second with a 1:27.097, so not too far behind, but it will feel like a world of difference. Jarvis in the third place, 1:27.159, Humid 1:27.387, Afrodox 1:27.737, Sebi 1:27.955, and Venom, the last of the 1:27s, with a 1:27.963. Maz, the only one at the moment outside of of the 127s with a 128.007, so just out of place in an Aston Martin with a 007. I'm not sure if he should go out again, but I know he will want to start as high up as he possibly can, so we'll probably see him improve on that. Zeal currently on his out lap, so he should be starting his flying lap as we go across now. KQ Microstatic finally coming out of the pits, deciding that the track is rubbered insufficiently, coming out in a little bit of traffic, so he's probably going to hold his exit as much as possible. Looks like we had Sebi in the Alpine also holding his exit, and now they can get underway. Zeal, in the meantime, is heading down towards turn number 4. Takes a good amount of exit on the outside there, takes a lot of curb on the entrance into that S-curve, hits the apex nicely on the hairpin, possibly a little bit of wheel spin there coming out of the hairpin, but keeps it pointed in the right direction as he goes through the trail braking corner onto the back straight. DRS open, staking to the right hand side. As I said, that does keep your car from being as straight as possible as soon as possible, so it does affect your speed along that back straight. Little jump of lag there, but nothing too bad. Onto the final straight he goes. Gets all the way to the left hand side, straddles the curb, throws himself into those final couple of corners. Looks like he got a decent exit out of there, so let's see how the timing goes. Up into 4th position, Zeal putting himself up into 4th position with that great lap. Out of sync with everyone else though, so if he does need to go again, he will probably need to go again a lot quicker than some of the other guys. KQ Microstatic, now the last person to need to set a lap time, takes a decent amount of curb on the entrance and on the apex of turn 2 and as well on turn 3. Turn 4 takes a good amount of curb on the entrance, doesn't get too much on the apex, a lot of curb on the exit there, taking a very aggressive line through these corners, definitely running a time trial line, which is exactly what you want to do with your quali session, taking a lot of curb on the apex of the hairpin as well. So KQ heading down to the trail braking corner, hits the apex perfectly. This looks like it's going to be a very tidy lap so far, doesn't push himself right across to that right hand side, and so keeping a very straight line down there. Possibly got a little bit of a toe from the, I think that's a Williams ahead of him, the Williams of IMTJ. So KQ Microstatic will be affected a little bit by the dirty air there, but doesn't look like it's affected him too badly. Gets a nice exit out of that corner onto the final straight. Flies down to that final corner, gets very wide on the entrance there, which is exactly what you want to do. It gives you a straight path through. A straight path means you can carry a lot more speed, and crosses the line into 3rd position. Not too far off the guys up ahead, only 600ths behind Marcus, his teammate, and only 400ths behind IMTJ in the Williams. So Aphrodox going around on the outlap. So we have on actual laps, Venom, I think that, yeah, we saw him invalidate his lap there. KQ Microstatic has just completed a lap. I doubt he's going for another run right away. Just with ERS being an issue, he probably won't be going for one right away. Jarvis looks like he may have started another lap. Looks like he's got a decent amount of ERS, so let's follow him around on this lap as he heads down towards turn number 4. Breaks between the little bit of asphalt and the start of the curb, doesn't take too much curb on the exit, not taking nearly as much curb as we saw KQ Microstatic taking, but you can see that rubbered up line. You can see that lighter section of the track, which is where everyone else has been taking those corners. That section of the track is going to give you the ideal traction. That section of the track will make you quicker, and it will also affect the tire wear as well to a lesser extent. So down towards the sweeping S's now, gets nicely across to the right hand side, so obviously a little bit more comfortable through this section than through that earlier section that we watched him. Doesn't take too much on the right hand side, but gets nicely across the left, takes that corner fairly well, gets the pedal down as soon as he possibly can, down towards the final corner. Let's see what Jarvis has managed to do with this lap. It's looked fairly tidy except for that first sector. Jarvis crosses the line and goes up into 4th position, so definitely not a bad lap, but not as good as he would have wanted. So currently on a lap, Marcus is once again on a lap, currently sitting at the top of the table and trying to cement his position there. Alfa Romeo of Aphrodite getting out of the way there. Marcus is 0.04 of a second up, for almost 0.05 of a second up on his time as he comes down towards the hairpin. Through the hairpin, that looked like he carried a ton of speed through there. It was a brilliant angle. I wish the game would use that more often. Down into the trail braking corner, not taking it as wide on the entrance as he could, but still looks like he got a decent exit, puts himself right across to the right hand side, immediately goes over the little bump there, gets through here, misses the apex of the left-hander of the sweeping curves, doesn't get too far on the right hand side, has lost a little bit of time, but still a 16 thousandths of a second up. So let's see what he does as he comes down that final straight into the last corner of the lap. Marcus gets a decent exit out of there, takes a little bit of curb on the left hand side. Let's see, gets across 126.751, 108 thousandths up, so a 10th up on his previous time. That was a good lap. So let's see who else is on the track. Jarvis has aborted his lap after that, I imagine. Let's see, first person to come across will probably be, is that Sebi? That is Sebi. So Sebi will be the next person to come across the start-finish line on a flying lap. So let's see how he does in this last little bit. A 117 as he goes into the final corner. DRS wide open across the line and goes to the top with a 126.623, a good chunk of time up on his previous run. Zeal will be next across the line, goes up into 5th position. IMTJ currently in 3rd. Let's see what he can do. IMTJ crosses and goes up into 2nd place with a 126.746. We have one of the Aston Martin's coming across now. That is Moz coming across and putting himself into 8th position ahead of his teammate, who is the next to come across the line. Humid puts himself into 4th place, so a much better lap than we have seen out of Humid. Venom now going up into 2nd place, Jarvis in 8th place. So only Marcus still technically allowed on a lap. Looks like he does, doesn't look like he has pushed it, so he will probably duck into the pits. This definitely does not look like a lap, and there he goes into the pits. So that will be the end of the quali session. We have Sebi in 1st place with a 126.623, Venom in 2nd with a 126.685, so not far behind. IMTJ 126.746, Marcus 126.751, and Humid the top 5 126.899. KQ Microstatic, Zeal, Jarvis, Moss, and Aphrodite the top 10. Everyone within the 127 mark that we saw in the previous session, and most of them, the top 8 in the 126 range, separated by only about 0.4 of a second. So very close times in our qualification, quali 3. So let's see if that translates into some close racing on track for the race. So as we wait for the players to ready up, we have to be aware of turn 1 here. It is a long run down to turn 1 and it is a decent straight to get some speed on. So there are often incidents at turn 1 as everyone tries to shuffle through turn 1, 2, 3 corner complex. Looks like everyone has joined in, so we should start our countdown shortly unless the game has decided to just throw everyone in. And there we have the countdown. So everyone everyone is in at the moment, I would imagine, and someone has pressed start. So in 20 seconds we will be lights on, and soon we will see the start of the race. Turn 1 always interesting here. As I said, lots of speed being carried in. A nice sweeping right-hander does give a lot of racing opportunity, and people do often forget how many people can fit across into that corner. Alrighty, lights are going on, 3, 4, 5. And a long wait before away we go. So Sebi out in front gets a decent launch, does manage to hold against IMTJ. IMTJ looking for a way around. Looks like Afrodox is shuffling, or everyone's shuffling around, lots of contact, you could hear it. My word, that is a lot of people moving around right now. Looks like we have a yellow flag. It looks like it may have been the McLarens and D2A1 having a little bit of an altercation in the background there, but our front runners do appear to have managed to get through without any sort of issue. Sebi out in front, IMTJ in second, Venom in third, Marcus in fourth, Humid. Oh, that is Venom going out, and that is a DNF. We saw that happen in the background there, and that is really unfortunate. We have a virtual safety car out already, and that will neutralize the race as it stands. Virtual safety car taking quite a while to actually come out there after Venom went off in the background there, possibly just pushing a little bit too hard on those cold medium tires and throwing himself into the wall. That's really unfortunate for the Mercedes team. Virtual safety car still up, but I don't see it being around for too long, as we're... Okay. I just got booted, so I will try and rejoin. Okay, that's very strange. Okay, I'm going to try and drop out of the lobby and then come back in. I'm not entirely sure what happened there. Okay, so it looks like we're having some sort of issue with the lobby. Okay, so it looks like we're going to have to rehost. Unfortunately, the lobby just decided to commit. Yeah, just decided to destroy itself. So we will have to rehost. Okay, we're just getting the grids and everything set up. We will be back shortly. Alrighty, looks like we are going to get underway shortly. 28 seconds until the start, and unless everyone readies up. So hopefully we get to go underway as quickly as possible. Thank you for your patience. And thank you for joining us. I see 4 people in the spectating along various means, so thank you so much for joining us. And let's hope that the start of this next run goes better than the first one. It's incredible. This is a new bug, and they've just patched out one of the old bugs, supposedly, and they've apparently added a new one. So, great news. But there we go. It appears as if what happened is, as this virtual safety car was ending, it decided to boot half the players and then just stop being in general. The safety car apparently said it was ending and then just stopped ending and just kept going. Yeah. Okay, so apparently we have to leave once again. It looks like people readied up a little bit too early. So we're having to leave once again and rehost once again. Okay, so let's try this once again. Alrighty, the grid is set and we are getting ready to go. We just had Linux, shout out to Linux, thank you for trying to join us. Unfortunately, we've had so many issues with this lobby that we don't want to anger it any further. So if you are watching, thanks for trying, but next time. Alrighty. Attempt number 3, let's see if this time works. Okay, and start has been pressed. Hopefully that was actually by an admin and not by someone else, otherwise someone's going to be in quite a lot of trouble. 18 seconds to go until the lights start coming on. Either that or this is just the game deciding that it's waited long enough for players and it's just going to ignore them and put everyone on the grid. Yep, there we go, lights are going on. 3, 4, 5 lights are on and away we go. So, decent start by Sebi once again. I'm TJ hounding him all the way down to turn 1. Venom up in 3rd place, lost it to Humid. Quite a bit of contact going on there by Marcus in the AlphaTauri. But looks like everyone has gotten through fine this time. One of the McLaren spinning in the background, that looks like it was Porty spinning, not taking anyone else. So we have gotten away a little bit cleaner this time than we did last time. I hear quite a bit of contact in the background there, so let's see if anyone spins through the S's down towards the hairpin. No one looks like they're spinning this time. So we have gotten further in the race than we did last time. Well done to the guys. Sewi out in front, player in first place, dominating the start once again. Looks like he is running, oh yeah, he's running on the medium tires. I'm TJ as well. Venom from point 1 running in 3rd place, Marcus in 4th, Humid in 5th, Java 6th, Moss 7th, KQ Microstatic in 8th, Zeal in 9th, Afrodox in 10th, Afriki Pokpok, G-Funk, Deadpool and Putty, our top 14, Deadpool and Putty, switching positions at the back. So it looks like one of our racers has selected the wrong set of tires, so they will be required to pit on this lap to fix that up. It looks like we had a little bit of lag there. Sebi popping back to 3rd position. Not sure what happened there, but Sebi losing a position to IMTJ under lag, I do believe that was. Venom in third place, Sebi holding him up, Zeal and Microstatic fighting it out in the background, Zeal taking Microstatic in the sister team. But Microstatic not giving up. It looks like he is going to look at a move, not this rat lap, but possibly further down the line. Ooh, so we have KQ Microstatic going off. I missed what was happening there. I was checking something else, and that is really unfortunate. KQ Microstatic having a moment with Zeal, it looked like, and going off straight into the barrier, not even managing to slow down. So that is another virtual safety car. Let's see if this one goes better than the previous one. So we have IMTJ in first place, Sebi in second, Venom in third, Humid in fourth, Jarvis in fifth, Moss, Zeal, Aphrodox, Marcus, and Afriki top 10, G-Funk, Potty, and Deadpool top 13. So as we go around down towards turn 1, under the virtual safety car, it comes to an end. Lap 3, DRS enabled, and we can get the race underway once again. IMTJ getting a good gap ahead of Sebi, 1.5 seconds. Venom right behind Sebi will have DRS. There it is, DRS, and looks at the inside, decides better of it, and stays behind Sebi into turn 4 and down into the S's and towards the hairpin. So Venom right behind Sebi, Humid behind him, looking a little bit further, from a little bit further back at the gearbox. Jarvis behind Humid, also quite close, and Moss in 6th position. Zeal sitting in 7th, is quite far back. Aphrodox, the next person back who might have a chance at a pass if he does get DRS, and well, definitely will get DRS, but possibly not on this back straight. Not great. Not a great place to pass. It does take quite a lot of time to get up to speed on that back straight, so everyone will probably look at the first corner as the biggest passing opportunity, and if not there, down towards turn 4. That trail braking corner just before the back DRS straight is where the problem comes in. IMTJ setting the fastest time, Sebi immediately taking it back, and Venom looks like he is going to look at turn 1, pops to the outside, gets to the outside of Sebi, looks at the cutback, gets a good amount of traction there, doesn't get as good an exit out of corner 2 as he should have to try and get after Sebi, so not going to make a pass this time, and won't be able to get past in turn 4 either. Further in the background we have Marcus looking at the back of Zeal, the two of them going very close through turn 4, but not close enough just yet. So we have a couple of battles up and down the field. G-Funk and Afriki Pok also looking at a battle that looked like a push by G-Funk onto Afriki Pok off the track. Afriki doing pretty well to avoid contact there, and that may have been an issue. Deadpool looks like he spun at turn 1, so that's unfortunate. Zeal being reported for multiple issues. So not only was he apparently the one who pressed start, but it's also on the wrong tires, which I have noted as well. So Zeal looking like he's going to get himself banned pretty quickly from this from the league, and probably not going to join us next time, as he has completely ignored two rules that both have major penalties attached to them. So that's unfortunate. One race in and he's already looking at being banned for massive rule violations. So back to the race itself, IMTJ and Sebi fighting out in front again, but Aphrodox looking at the back of Marcus right on top of him. Zeal in 7th place, Marcus getting past him quite easily. Aphrodox not quite close enough, but looking at the outside nevertheless. Marcus gets in front of him, perfectly legal closing of the door. Aphrodox gets around fine, 3/10 behind, Zeal now behind both of them. Aphrodox will get DRS once again down the straight, down towards turn 4. Unfortunately, I do not have the in-game chat allowed at all, just to protect the stream, so unfortunately I did not hear the confirmation of time. But it was very clear in the other reports section of the Discord, so there is no excuse whatsoever for pressing start after we made it very clear that no one is to press start other than yourself or G-Funk. So yeah, there's no excuses. It's a slam dunk penalty, and a pair of them. So Aphrodox currently chasing down Marcus, 4/10 between them. Jarvis is 3/10 behind Humid in the Mercedes, chasing down the Aston Martin. Jarvis gets a good exit down onto the final straight. Cool. Cheers, KQ. We'll check you next time. Hopefully, hopefully your curse ends soon, because yeah, you have definitely had a massive curse on you. So we have Sebi looking at IMTJ breaking the toe down into turn 1. Venom, Humid, and Jarvis deciding not to try anything as they go through. G-Funk being spun now. Not sure what happened there. Didn't see who he was close by when that happened, and that is a full safety car, so everyone is going to be keeping an eye on the Delta. That'll neutralize the race for this lap and bunch up the pack for the next couple. So IMTJ in first place, managing to keep it after that laggy moment by Sebi, which put him back. Sebi definitely having a much better race this time. It's still in the race, for one thing. Let's just double check that. Yeah, Sebi is still in the race, so having a much better race than last time. Not too much lag, just that one moment which put him behind IMTJ. Didn't negatively affect anyone around him so far as I can tell. Venom in third place in the Mercedes, in Humid in fourth, Jarvis in 5th, Moss in 6th, Marcus in 7th. Not having a great start, definitely does have some pace, so we'll be keen to see what he can do a little bit later on. Aphrodox in 8th, Zeal in 9th, obviously looking at those massive penalties. Afriki Pokpok in 10th place, Potty and Deadpool in the McLarens, bringing up the rear. Potty, Deadpool deciding to pit. I do believe he's got some damage from one of his spins, so he's deciding to pit under the safety car. Not a bad idea. 6 laps in, 29 laps in total, which means there are 23 laps still to go. With Moss being on the soft tires, this is a little too early to pit, although he can take the gamble, get rid of those soft tires, and he will take the gamble and get rid of those soft tires as I say that. Possibly looking at the fact that the safety car has just come out, and going in, putting the tires on now. He may end up a little bit further back, but at the same time, a couple of other people are pitting around him as well. So not going all the way to the very back of the field, but getting rid of those soft tires, putting on, let's see what he's done. He's putting on the mediums. IMTJ, one of the other people who pitted, putting on the hards, so probably looking at pushing all the way to the end of the race. Afriki Bokbok, the only other legitimate runner on a hard tire, and that will be a difficult one. He will have to hope for a late safety car to make that that strategy work. So Afriki Pokpok on the hard tires, IMTJ having just put them on, Moss putting on fresh mediums, Deadpool is on fresh mediums as well after his pit stop as well. So pit stops so far, we have IMTJ, Moz, Zeal and Deadpool all having one stop each. Position changes, Sebi and Venom have held position in first and second, Humid up 2 places, Jarvis up 4 places, so making a decent climb. Marcus losing a place, so that's unfortunate for the AlphaTauri driver. Aphrodox 4 places up, Afriki Pokpok 6 places up, so taking advantage of the various bits of carnage. And on those hard tires as well, so definitely making his way up the field and hoping that track position is as powerful as it is in real life Formula 1. Potty up 3 places in the McLaren, but that is above all of the normal runners who have managed to pit. IMTJ down 6 places. He was running in first, so he's taking a very big gamble with that hard tire setup. But if he can make them last to the end of the race, once again, track position can make all the difference in the world. So IMTJ hoping to make those hard tires work all the way to the end. Marcus coming into the pits, deciding that he also wants to try the gamble, especially with the safety car staying out one more lap. 7 laps in on soft tires. I can absolutely understand why he is getting rid of them as soon as possible. No. He was 7 laps in on medium tires, and he's now going on to soft tires. So Marcus going on to soft tires, going for a hyper-aggressive strategy, possibly hoping that there will be another safety car at some point during the race. Not sure entirely what he's thinking. Possibly Jeff also messing him around. Zeal and Moss trading positions on track. So Zeal once again causing trouble, that has 2 major penalties coming his way, and now also causing trouble with Maz under the safety car. A little bit of a jitter there. Not sure if that's lag on my end or possibly a lobby issue. Hopefully not a lobby issue, but we have a little bit of PTSD at this point. I see a pink car. Oh, it's not pink. It's just it's just the McLaren next to some of the other colors looked a little pink rather than orange. So that was a little weird. Here I thought the game had bugged out and decided that there was a racing point running around. So safety car will probably announce whether it's going to come in soon. Obviously with Deadpool quite far back still, it might decide it needs another lap for the cars to catch up, and it looks like that's exactly what it's done. So we have another lap behind this safety car in this lap on the last corner. That is a very odd place for it to decide that now is the time. So we will follow the front couple of runners. We will ride on board with Aphrodite. Oh, this is a horrible place for it to decide that it's just going to go in. So Sebi not getting a great start, caught by surprise by the safety car coming in, pushing to the right hand side of the track, trying to break the toe. Venom, Humid making the most of the restart, getting ahead of Venom, but Venom trying to hold the line on the inside of the second apex. So getting through down there. We've got Humid up into second place, Venom losing position, Jarvis in fourth, Aphrodite getting very close to the gearbox of Jarvis there, but managing to stay out of it. I haven't heard any real contact, so that's good. So we've got Sebi up into first place, Humid in second, Venom in third, Jarvis fourth, Aphrodite in fifth, and we have Marcus spinning in the background. Going into the S's, looks like he's moving again, so that's good. IMTJ making the most of something that happened and getting past Afriki Potbok. So IMTJ making up those positions already on those hard tires. There they are, those white marked hard tires, already up into 7th position. So he is going to be trying to make the strategy work, fight his way back to the front of the pack, especially when the guys come in for their pit stops. And already making good on that attempt. So we're going to follow IMTJ. I think he's going to be pushing harder than anyone almost, although I say that, and Aphrodite is less or just over a 10th behind Jarvis and very much looking at getting past, getting a very good exit out of there. Looks like he is gaining. He is indeed. Let's see which way he goes. He'll probably have to go to the, oh no, Jarvis moves towards the inside, which gives Aphrodite the outside of this corner, the inside of the next one, and then the outside once again. If he can hold the position, he does cut the track a little bit there, and Jarvis does get the position back once again, but it means that they are side by side down towards turn 4, and Aphrodite has backed out so close to the gearbox of that Mercedes. And with the settings being slightly changed, okay, we just saw a Red Bull spinning in the background. That was Zeal in a fight with Moz, and Afriki Pok looks like he may have had a little bit of contact and ended up falling back. Afrodox and Jarvis once again side by side going down towards the trail breaking corner. Let's see, it looks like Afrodox did get a little bit of a better exit. Let's see how it goes. 324, 330, 342. Looks like they might both be burning quite a bit of ERS to try and keep up with each other as they go into the sweeping S's and towards the corner that takes them onto the back straight. Let's see whether both taking very aggressive lines through this corner. Lots of curve on the inside for Afrodox as he tries to get as close as possible to Jarvis and set up and move down the pit straight. In the meantime, Venom is trying to do the same to Humid with a little bit less success. Jarvis under 0.4 of a second, losing a little bit of time through that corner, but now pushing even harder. DRS enabled on this lap, so Afrodox will be close enough to get DRS without any shadow of a doubt as they go onto the straight down towards turn 4. Afrodox is 0.3 behind, not choosing to oh no, and that is unfortunately one of those situations. Afrodox pushing a little bit too hard, spinning out of corner 2, doing a flick spin to get back under the way, but moving all the way down to 9th position from 5th. IMTJ in the meantime down to 10th position as Marcus takes the position as well. IMTJ already up to 5th place, so once again making those hard tires work as hard as he possibly can, pushing really well, waiting for people to make mistakes and taking advantage as we see Jarvis looking at the gearbox of his teammate Venom, both in the Point One esports team, and deciding not to take to try it on this lap, possibly pulling it back a little bit, only 0.3 behind as both of them look at the back of Humid from Vibin Esports. Humid currently sitting in 2nd place, so they might decide that they're going to not fight each other and actually go after Humid. If Jarvis and Zeal do decide that one of them are faster, they'll probably put that person in front and have that person attack Humid as much as possible. So let's see what Venom does this time. Looking at the back of Humid, gets a good exit, gets DRS and gets past. Jarvis looking at it as well. Humid breaking the slipstream, trying to get into Venom's slipstream as well. Ooh, Jarvis breaking very late, almost going to the back of Humid, missing the apex entirely, and that is going to compromise his exit and give Humid some breathing room. But the DRS is right there again. Humid does have it as well from Venom to be able to defend as well. Jarvis looking at the inside, decides better of it, stays behind Humid for now, but Humid is now in a Mercedes sandwich. This is not where you want to be. Just ask Max Verstappen. So we have Sebi out in front, 1.2 seconds ahead, not being fussed by anyone behind. Venom in 2nd, that 1.2 seconds behind. Humid 0.5 behind Venom. Will get DRS on this back straight, but will have to worry about Jarvis behind as well. If Venom wants to help his teammate, he can hold his throttle on the apex of the corners, make Humid slow down just a little bit extra and put him right into Jarvis's clutches. IMTJ currently running in 5th on those hard tires, 1.8 seconds back, so not getting DRS just yet. IMTJ, Potti and Moss currently also looking at possibly fighting as they head through here. Potti losing it on the right-hander, it looked like, may have touched that inside curb a little bit too much, losing it and letting Moss through. So let's get back to Jarvis and Humid. Again, decides to put us in the cockpit, which doesn't help us see anything. Humid getting the DRS, Jarvis not having the ERS to challenge unfortunately at the moment. Humid getting a good exit out of corner 1 and into turn 2, so let's see what Humid can do now. Looking at the back of Venom, not having enough speed, carrying enough speed out of that corner down towards turn 4, once again stays in the sandwich, and we are as we were before, except now things are just a little bit closer, so the dirty air is going to be affecting people a little bit more. Their tires are going to be wearing through a little bit more. The tires 12 laps old at this point, so they are going to be starting to wear out, they are going to be starting to lose traction, and we are going to start seeing them coming very close to each other. We have Zeal spinning off in the background, I do believe that is, and we have a virtual safety car. Zeal spinning off, looks like he's still moving. He hasn't retired from the session, so I believe that is because there is debris on the track. Simulation damage means that debris can actually cause punctures and wing damage. So the virtual safety car is out to simulate marshals having to go and pick up that debris. Everyone is past that position now, so don't know how realistic the game's marshals are, but they should be picking up that debris as soon as possible. Okay, so a lot of people coming into the pits now. Jarvis staying out. IMTJ not coming into the pits. So IMTJ has been gifted this high position. That hard tire call from earlier definitely working out for him. Possibly should be able to push those tires all the way to the end. Or at least conserve those tires all the way to the end. Does put him in front as far as track position is concerned, but it does also mean that he is going to have to conserve those tires a little bit longer, he's going to have to push a little bit harder on the safety car restart to try and get away as soon as possible, especially if Jarvis also decides to come in at the end of this lap. Zeal has now retired from the session. Marcus got a drive-through penalty, not sure why, possibly speeding in the pit lane. No, speeding under the safety car. So Marcus speeding under the safety car, that's unfortunate for him. Possibly just a lapse in judgment when it comes to the Delta. So running in first place, we have Jarvis with 13 lap-old mediums. IMTJ and Moz are both on 6 lap-old tires with a hard and a medium. Afriki Pokpok, 13 lap-old hards, so not choosing to come in, not choosing to put on medium tires. Aphrodox sitting in with 13 lap-old mediums. He is sitting in 5th position. Sebi in 6th, 0 lap-old hards. Venom also new tires in the form of mediums. Humid going for new hards as well, deciding he wants to be able to push all the way to the end rather than conserve a little bit. Marcus with those mediums with that drive-through penalty, so that's really unfortunate for him. Deadpool 7 lap-old mediums and Potty 0 lap-old mediums. So the game says we're underway again. For some reason, I really thought that was a full safety car. I'm not entirely sure what I was thinking, but we are underway again. So Jarvis out in front, 2 seconds ahead of IMTJ. Moss 3 seconds behind IMTJ at the moment. Afriki Pokpok 4.6 seconds back. Aphrodox 2.2 seconds back. Sebi having to deal with a newly shot Venom. On slightly better tires than him as well. So if Venom can get past Sebi now, he will be looking at holding Sebi behind him for the rest of the race. But Sebi is rapid, and once those hard tires are up to temperature, he is going to be able to push them a lot harder than Venom will be able to push his mediums. So Venom needs to get past Sebi as soon as possible to have a chance of keeping him behind until the end of the race. Humid in 8th place, 1.6 seconds back. Deadpool in 9th place, 18 seconds down. Potty 2.2 seconds behind his teammate, and Marcus right at the back. Marcus has not served his drive-through so far as I can tell. Marcus has served his drive-through and is now sitting with just a 3-second track limit penalty. So Jarvis currently making the best of the various situations, but out there on 15 lap-old mediums, he is going to suffer quite soon, him along with Aphrodox, who have decided to stick on their mediums, and currently sitting at 15 laps old. So Venom still quite close behind Sebi, getting a little snap of understeer going through turn 1, but keeping it pointed in the same direction and trying to fight. 4 seconds down, 3 seconds down, 3/10 down. DRS should still be enabled, as that was just a virtual safety car. We didn't see it open there, but that's because that was a terrible angle. So Sebi is struggling with Venom at the moment. Venom obviously getting that DRS on all the DRS straights, which does lead to quite a bit of difficulty for Sebi to keep him behind, but Sebi does look like like he's starting to push through the corners a lot harder, and that will certainly be helping him keep that gap to Venom behind. Venom and Sebi still the closest people on track. So Venom 6/10 behind now at the end of the back straight, and now Sebi will probably start trying to pull away from him as they go through the sweeping curves and down towards the final straight. So onto the pit straight they go. 5/10 back is Venom. It looks like he's putting on as much as he can as he gets the fastest lap of the race. So Venom obviously burning through a lot of ERS to try and catch up to Sebi. Gets right up to him, goes to the outside of turn 1, tries to switch back as Sebi defends the inside and not able to get through once again, but right on Sebi's gearbox as they go onto the straight down to turn 4, the second DRS zone. Looks at the inside this time, gets ahead just before the apex, gets through. Sebi tries the cutback though, and not quite enough, but they are still technically side by side. Sebi deciding he is going to pull back a little bit and fight it out a little bit later on. That is a very good decision by him. It looked like it was getting a little tight there. So Sebi now in 7th position, Venom in 6th after making that move, but that does not mean he has nothing to fight for now as Sebi comes through and gets the DRS onto this back straight. Humid sliding a little bit in the background with a snap of oversteer, but Sebi looking at the back of Venom, deciding not to pass this time. I don't know if that was tactical, maybe deciding that the back straight is not the best place to pass. Afriki, Pok and Aphrodox fighting in front of them. Looks like there has been some sort of switch there. Afriki getting a 3-second penalty. Aphrodox now ahead of Afriki Pok. Both of them on those 16 lap old tires. Aphrodox on the mediums, Afriki on the hards. So Afriki will have a little bit more tires left than Aphrodox, but deciding to get rid of them nevertheless, and Aphrodox goes on. So Venom and Sebi now with Aphrodox ahead of them, quite close. That will be giving Venom the DRS to try and defend against Sebi with, as well as Venom looks at to the inside of Aphrodox to maybe try and get past. Now looking at the outside, Aphrodox looks like he's not fighting this too much, gets behind Venom, not giving up and rolling over it, but definitely not fighting it as much as he possibly could have. Aphrodox gets the 3-second penalty for track limits, which we saw him cross over there just momentarily. He looks like he is trying to get out of the way of Sebi. Sebi, obviously, with those newer tires, will not be Aphrodox's battle. Deadpool spinning off in the background. I think that's Deadpool, although he's ahead of Marcus, so that's actually Potty. So Venom, Aphrodox, Sebi still fighting each other. Sebi looks like he will probably look at the inside this time, not deciding to pass on that back straight again. So that back straight, not a good place to pass, and everyone agreeing to that. Sebi now getting around the outside on the fast right-hander of Aphrodox. Aphrodox very definitely looked like he was letting them through. Again, it's not his battle. He is on a different tire strategy to those around him, and will probably be pitting in the next couple of laps anyway. Especially as there are only 10 laps left. It is getting to the point where soft tires may be an option to go to the end, and Aphrodox goes into the pits this time, and so we will see what tires he puts on and whether he has the pace to catch up to these guys ahead. Humid now up into 6th place as Sebi puts himself on the inside of turn 1 and then immediately loses it. Massive snap of oversteer coming out of turn 1 going towards turn 2, and that has put him in a much worse position as Venom kept his cool and tried the switchback, got the switchback, and got a much better exit out onto that straight down towards turn 4. So Venom and Sebi still trading positions. Afriki Pok and Aphrodox now trading positions as well, as Aphrodox comes out of the pits on those soft tires, as I thought he would. 5/10, 6/10 down on Afriki Pok, but on those soft tires he will be a lot faster, and he will probably look to put Afriki in his mirrors as soon as possible. 4/10 between them at the moment as they go through turn 4, and Aphrodox starts warming up those soft tires. Doesn't want to take too much out of them. It is a long-ish stint towards the end, 10 laps. So we'll need to conserve the soft tires a little bit, but we'll need to get past Afriki as soon as possible. Otherwise, he is going to get the heat degradation off the wake of that Red Bull in front of him. So it goes to the inside, looks at it, decides against it, drops back a little bit. Afriki goes to the left to break the toe. Aphrodite will get the better line through here, leaves enough space on the inside. Afriki understeers into him and off Afriki goes. That is unfortunate, but that did look like an understeer. Aphrodite did look like he was holding the line, so that is just one of those racing incidents as far as it looks at the moment. We have Afriki now spinning once again, so possibly overheating his tires. Safety car, that is the worst news for Aphrodite, who was looking for that super aggressive strategy. Decides to go into the pits once again, so I don't know if he's maybe trying to get rid of those tires, get some newer tires. Means he's got one lap less to run on those tires once again. Far back enough that it doesn't make too much difference to him. Potty and Marcus, the only people behind him, also coming in to pit, and now Jarvis, IMTJ, and Moz are on the oldest tires of the bunch. Jarvis still on his original set of tires. So Jarvis is going to need to come in this lap to get rid of those tires. Obviously, with the Delta out, it means that he actually has quite an advantage. He might only lose... See, with everyone as close as they are, he might still not be able to keep as many positions as he'd like. He'll probably end up somewhere between Venom and Humid in that slot where Sebi is, if I remember the pit lane here well enough. Deadpool has left the session, so Deadpool's internet has apparently given up the ghost. Jarvis does indeed come in, IMTJ coming in as well. Moz, let's see if Moz decides to come in on those older tires. Yes, absolutely he will. Venom coming in as well, Sebi coming in as well. So it looks like everyone has decided they are going to get rid of their current tires, throw on the softs, and push as hard as they possibly can to get to the end of the race. So we are going to have a sprint race at the end of this 50%er. The last 9 laps are going to be on soft tires with everyone under the safety car. Bunched up after the safety car, and that will lead to some very interesting racing. Hopefully everyone is able to keep their cars headed in the right direction and not into each other. Alrighty, so the safety car still out at the moment. Has not announced that it's going to go in, but we'll see shortly if it decides as late as it did last time. Going around the final corner, staying out one more lap, so it looks like it wants to allow Deadpool to catch up just that little bit more. So one more lap under the safety car means that everyone's tires will survive just a little bit longer, and we'll have an even better race going towards the end of the prescribed number of laps. Aphrodite and Humid trading positions at the back, not sure what's happening there. Humid did look like he was going very slowly And Aphrodite looks like he's being made to keep the position, not entirely... Oh, there we go. Not entirely sure what's happening. Very confused about what's happening at the moment. So Humid and Aphrodite changing positions. It looked like Humid did have the position previously and then slowed right down, and Aphrodite ended up in front of him and then slowed right down to let him back through. Not sure what exactly happened there. No penalties coming out of it, so that's good at least, but very odd little shuffle over there. Deadpool coming down towards turn 4, so probably... if he pushes, he might be able to catch up to the back of the pack before the final straight. It doesn't look like he's going to make it, so let's see what the safety car does. Out in front, Jarvis, TJ, Moz, Venom and Sebi will be hoping that the safety car stays out as long as possible, to be honest. But the safety car has announced it's in this lap. A decent range from the finish line this time, so let's see what the guys can do. Jarvis slowing the pack down, not slowing down too much, keeping the revs, keeping the cars going. Will probably throw himself down here. No, he's deciding, and there we go, up to racing speed we go. IMTJ right on top of him, lots happening in the background. Moz and Venom getting right into it as well. Sebi deciding to hang back a little bit as Venom and Moz switch positions. Jarvis and IMTJ switching positions as well. So we go through turns 1 and 2, side by side onto the straight down towards turn 4. It looks like everyone is still with us. They are indeed. Jarvis and IMTJ fighting still at the front. Venom and Moss fighting in 3rd and 4th. Sebi sitting in 5th at the moment, deciding not to get involved just yet, and now deciding it is the time. Getting past Moz, but not getting a great exit out there. Getting caught in Moz's side pod, which has allowed Humid to get right up alongside his teammate, almost into the back of Sebi. May have been a little bit of contact there, and Humid is now up into 5th place as Moz drops back into 6th, and Sebi takes 4th position from them. IMTJ currently sitting in 2nd, 6/10ths back from Jarvis, and will be looking to push as hard as he possibly can and get up to that Mercedes and eventually past it. Let's change back to the interval gaps, which make more sense to everyone. And there we go. We can see how close everyone is. Humid currently 2/10ths back. Deadpool spinning once again in the background. But way at the front, we have Humid and Sebi fighting each other. Humid looking at taking Sebi on this lap. Will not get DRS. Still a lap to go before DRS is enabled. But will be getting that slipstream. Looks at the outside as Sebi fakes to the inside and decides not to go for it this time. But is still very close to that car in front of him. Moss now falling back, possibly with damage from that altercation with Sebi, and Humid taking Aphrodite taking advantage of that. Moss looking at the inside of turn 4, deciding better of it, staying in position, but now under pressure from Potty behind as well. Humid still 3/10ths behind Sebi, so Humid is pushing Sebi as hard as he can. But Sebi seems to be keeping his position at the moment and keeping up with Venom ahead, only 6/10ths down. So the moment DRS is re-enabled, everyone down to Aphrodite will have, everyone down to Humid will have DRS, and then Aphrodite will miss it out on it. And then Mars back to Marcus will have DRS. So we've got 2 separate DRS streams running at the moment, assuming Aphrodite can't make up the 3/10th gap to Humid that he would need to pick up a DRS. But it looks like Humid and Sebi are putting distance on Aphrodite at the moment, possibly Aphrodite having to defend against Sebi and deciding not to push too hard so that he has more tires towards the end, hoping that the track position does the work for him. So Humid 3/10 behind, going onto the pit straight, DRS enabled, as we thought. Sebi getting the fastest time with 129.151. Humid 3/10 down, Sebi 3/10 down as well on Venom now, and oh, that looked like there may have been contact, especially with all the sparks. It may have been the Aston Martin being pushed down a little bit by the Alpine in front of it. Humid 2/10 down as they go into turn 4. That definitely looked like contact. Sebi going a little wide, but still keeping it on the track. So no, despite Humid's attempts to rattle Sebi keeping it on the track, keeping it composed, and 4/10 back from Venom, so still keeping very close to the car ahead. Humid definitely the most aggressive at the moment. Marcus in the background looking to pass as well, but Humid is once again right on the gearbox of that Alpine. Let's ride on board with him. Has fallen back a little bit due to the concertina effect, and you'll see now as he comes very close in, sounded like a little bit of a lockup, which is not ideal. A little bit of lag there, but everyone puts themselves back in the same position. Sebi now 4/10 behind Venom, and Humid 4/10 behind him. So these guys once again so close together. Jarvis has not pulled safe out in front. IMTJ behind him 5/10 back. Venom 7/10 back from there. Sebi 6/10 back from there. Humid definitely the closest at the moment with 4/10. Potty further back is closer, but he is running 3/10 behind Marcus. So lots going on all the way up and down the field. IMTJ very close to Jarvis now, going through the first couple of corners. Potty and Marcus switching positions, going into turn 1. It looks like they may have been side by side, and Potty taking the position from Marcus, but getting a time penalty in the process for track limits. IMTJ was for a moment only a 10th back from Jarvis, so we are getting the sprint that we hoped for, with the safety car ending as late as it did, and everyone going onto soft tires. IMTJ 5/10 back, 6/10 back now. Venom 8/10 back. Sebi 4/10 back, and Humid still the closest in this batch. Only 3/10 for a moment back from Sebi. Once again, right on top of that gearbox, looking down the back straight. Jarvis getting out of the normal line so that he can break the toe, and then switching back to the racing line very aggressively and forcing everyone else to do the same, which will lead to a lot of dirty air. So lots of interesting tactics going on as these guys try and keep their positions while still trying to gain positions ahead of them. IMTJ has the best opportunity, obviously, with the DRS, and Jarvis out in front not getting their DRS. Jarvis will be losing quite a lot of ERS as he heads through, both of them with ERS engaged. Looked like a few people with ERS engaged there, and yet still no one has been able to break that mark. Humid going to the fastest lap of the race with a 129.025, but still not making that dent on Sebi that he needs to be able to get past. Misses the corner a little bit, carries a little bit too fast, too much speed through there, and puts himself in a bad position. But looks like IMTJ is looking at a move on Jarvis. Looked at the outside for a moment and decided against it. Humid still in 5th place, not managing to make a move on Sebi. So Sebi obviously getting a very good exit out of the corners where there is an opportunity to pass at the end of the straight, and keeping Humid frustrated for now. Moss in the meantime and Aphrodite have gone past each other. It looks like Aphrodite has gone out. Hopefully that is not due to contact between him and Moss as they fought each other. But in the meantime, we have Sebi now right on the back of Venom. So Sebi looking to make the pass now. Again, this back straight just not proving to be the right place to pass. So everyone's close on the back straight, but you do not get enough of a run out of that back straight to be able to do anything. Deadpool has now spun in sector 2. This close to the end of the race, there is unlikely to be any safety cars or virtual safety cars. Jarvis going all the way off the line to be able to break the toe. The other guy's not doing it. Oh, that is very close as Humid once again gets right into the gearbox of Sebi. Sebi once again holding the position, but Humid will be frustrated with that, with how slowly Sebi was going through that apex. Sebi has lost a span of time to Venom ahead. Venom and IMTJ looking at trying to pass Jarvis now. Jarvis getting a snap of Oshia. That gives IMTJ the opportunity to get past, which means Venom is now trying to fight his teammate for position. Venom now only hundredths of a second, decides to pull in behind his teammate, almost goes into the gearbox as he pulls in there, and does allow Sebi to come alongside with that poor exit out of turn 4. So Sebi looking at in fourth place at the moment, looking at third, looking down towards the hairpin, gets right underneath that gearbox. The fact that there was not contact there is incredible. Down towards the trail braking corner onto this back straight, Humid getting right up to the gearbox once again. Quite a bit of wheel spin there from Sebi, so he may have been pushing those tires a little bit too hard, trying to catch the cars ahead. Once again, that back straight so close for everyone, but just not enough. Venom now falling back from Jarvis, possibly creating a little bit of a buffer to allow Jarvis to still fight IMTJ out in front. They may have decided that the team score is a little bit more important than their personal scores. In the meantime, Humid is still looking at the back of that Alpine and is going to be getting sick of seeing the Alpine logo on the back of that car. You can see IMTJ out in front is trying his very best to break the toe, get Jarvis off his tail, but it is just not working. Jarvis now a 10th down, not quite close enough, 3/10 down, 1.5 tenths, so the timing doesn't even know they are that close. Down towards turn 4, Jarvis is now alongside on the outside of turn 4. Let's see how they go through here. Enough space left on the inside, enough space left on the outside, a little bit of contact which pushes IMTJ off. IMTJ tries to get back to the line, and that looks like a little bit of damage, probably to Venom's Mercedes. That will give Humid getting past Sebi, and now getting past the Mercedes as well. A little bit of contact there, and Sebi is taking advantage of that as well, getting past Venom, getting alongside Humid as well in the trail braking corner, trying the cutback, gets onto the apex. Looks like there was definitely contact between the two of them. Humid comes out on top. Sector 2, Potty has unfortunately spun and ended up in the wall, retired from the session on the last lap. That is really unfortunate. So this is the last lap. Jarvis in first place, IMTJ 6/10 down, Humid 1.3 seconds down, Sebi right on top of him 3/10 down. This is the final lap. This is the final couple of corners. The Humid goes quite wide there, luckily not the third time, and so he does not get a penalty. Sebi with 3/10 to make up in this last corner. 4/10 now. No, it does not look like he's going to make it. Looks like Humid carried a lot of time, speed through that corner, and Humid secures third place, Sebi in fourth, Venom in fifth. Sixth place is Moz in the other Aston Martin. Marcus looks like he'll come home in 7th, Aphrodox in 8th after an eventful race at a couple of points, and Deadpool surviving his race, just keeping himself going and scoring points for the McLaren team in 9th place, assuming he can get through these last couple of corners. He shouldn't have any problems with that as he mounts that right-hand curb and almost loses it. As you saw there, as I said earlier, it is an incredibly slippery curb, and you could absolutely see that as he mounted it and almost went into the wall. So Deadpool coming in 9th place around the last couple of corners. Just has to take it easy. And there we go. So after that late safety car, we did have the sprint that we thought we would. Pretty much everyone going onto the soft tires and pushing as hard as they possibly can. Those DRS trains really did provide for some entertaining watching, and well done to the guys out in front. Jarvis from point 1, IMTJ in the Williams, Humid from Vibe and Esports, Sebi in 4th place in the Alpine, and Venom in 5th in the Mercedes. Moz, Marcus, Aphrodox, and Deadpool, well done before finishing in the points. Potty, that was really unfortunate. Final lap, you almost had it, and I'm sure we'll see more from you. Afriki, Zeal, G-Funk, KK Microstatic. There's nothing much to say. You guys did well. Hopefully next time it will go even better. So, thank you to everyone for joining us, and we will hopefully see you next time. Apologies for all the technical difficulties and the various issues that we had through the race and I mean, there were so many things going on. Honestly, the fact that there was a new glitch introduced into the game in the last patch is just, it makes you wonder. But thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for your patience, and we hope to see you next time.